Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about 3 different stages of book production before the book actually comes out. A few episodes ago I told you that I will tell you about 3 different stages of the book production, and when I mean the stages, I really mean energy levels of the author that are kind of needed from the beginning till the end, until the book is published. I'm actually going to start the other way around. I'm going to talk about the third stage first. The third stage is your book is kind of the best as you can possibly get it with your own efforts. And now the stage comes where you need a help from the outside. That help is usually from the editors and beta readers, where they actually give you some feedback and comments and corrections and so on. Very shortly in the edits, you have a developmental edit where your editor talks about the story and the plot and development and the pacing. Then you need a line edit or copy edit where the editor looks at the flow of your prose, makes sure that the people really sound like those particular characters and not somebody else, and so on. And the last stage is proofreader, where it's really checked that all the punctuations are corrected, there are no typos, and so on. So this part is the edit. Then this last stage also involves coming into contact with designers like illustrators, book designers who will do your cover, also designers and graphic designers who will format your book if you want your book in the print. So this stage might also include your contact with a narrator if you want to have an audiobook. So this last stage has a lot of interactions with other people, with editors and narrators and graphic designers and so on. So on one hand side, it's really interesting because the first 2 stages you are in your own bubble and you just kind of work with yourself. And this is interesting because you actually now come in contact with other people, so this is a lot of fun. But on the other hand, it's also a time where things and the pace does not depend on you. So in the first 2 stages, it's just you, and if you want to be quicker, you can be quicker. If you're slower, it's your own fault. But here you need to depend on other people, and I'm innately impatient, and I always think, after the second stage, oh, I have the book ready, I want to send it out, but it's not really ready yet. It's not really meant to be read by people. So you really need this stage of edits, and you really need to make it really as best as possible. So you really need this third stage. But for me personally, it's just a little bit difficult. I know I need to have it. I know it needs to be there, but it's just difficult for me, which is also why, and you will realize in the last stage, I'm gone. I don't do videos, I'm not on social media, I'm nowhere, because I'm really just focused on finishing the book and having it out. Second stage is really a marathon. It's the part where your first draft is done, but now you really need to work on it. You need to fix the plot errors, you need to, in general, fix the grammar errors, make sure that your characters sound the way they should, not to mix the tone or the voice of the different characters and so on. So that requires a lot of intensive work and reading and rereading and deleting and reading again and so on, to really make it as best as you possibly can before you give it to the editors. And I like this kind of work, although it is less creative than the first part. And now we come to the first part, and the first part is really a blank piece of paper, or a laptop page. There's nothing, and then you start making a story. And this is my favorite part. I love the first part because this is where you kind of tap into a muse and it just flows. And usually the parts or the scenes that come are not chronological. I do one in the beginning, one in the end, whatever it is that drives me to write that particular book. And because I have kind of an inner engine for that, this writing just flows. It just comes out. And I really like it because, as Anne Lamott says, the writer needs to just listen and type. And that's what I'm doing. I dive into this world, listen to what is happening around me. What do characters say? And I just type it. And usually this kind of writing is the best in the sense that the readers, when they read it, it feels real. It's not pushed, and it's not. I did not actually push words into characters' mouth. The characters just did it themselves, and the dialogue they did themselves. I was just typing, and I actually switched this sequence around because you see this part now is what I'm going to be doing. So I've just published The Mind, and now is the time to do the third sequel, which doesn't quite yet have the title. I have a vague idea of what the title might be, but I'll leave that for later. But you see, it's time to write a new book, and I have all these stories, and I know that some parts I will need to kick out because they will not fit into the story. But I just like it. This is the plugging into the electric socket for me, and I get all fully energized, and I just love it. So this first draft part is just fantastic. At least for me, and I know it's different for different people. Some people like it, like this marathon part. Some people like the end part where they can talk to other people and get comments from the editors, and that's all cool. But for me, I really like this first muse-induced part of the writing, and so I'm looking forward to that part. Do wish me luck for my making of the first draft of the third sequel. If you are a writer, let me know what's your favorite part. What do you like? Where do you have problems in the energy level of producing a book? Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.